perspectives of faith? Speak, brother. A black man's view of America and the first President Barack Obama's road to the White House, as originally reported by Roland S. Martin. Mr. Roland and his wife, the Reverend Jackie Hood Martin, the author of Fulfilled, The Art and Joy Balance of Balanced Living, they both reside in Washington, D.C. Can you all stand and give a warm welcome to our speaker, Mr. Roland S. Martin.
All right, so how we doing?
Good.
So how we doing on this side?
Good.
Okay, just checking. How about this side? That's it? That was kind of weak. All right then. Well, I'm certainly glad to be here, to be back in Rochester. I was here a few years ago when TV1, we were looking to be carried here on the cable system here, and so glad to be back. Glad to see all of you. Have you been having a good conference? Yes. All right then. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Let me. Now it's funny, as I was listening to them talk about Janice, she don't like any attention. I'm like, really? Because she was demanding I give her a bunch of attention when I walked in. She's like, no, you're gonna have to talk to me. She wanted a hug. She walked up to me. I was like, who is this woman? Yeah. You think I would call you out? Oh, you think that was gonna happen, huh? And then we coming in here, so normally I'm expecting, come in, see folks. She got them taking me through the back way. We going through the kitchen. I'm like going through closets, all kind of stuff. I was like, where are we going? But glad we're finally here. And so glad to see all of you here. Glad to be here. Let me thank everybody who played a part in making this happen. These conferences are hugely important to development of next generation leaders. I often attended many of these when I was your age as well, and so they do matter. They do matter. Now, before I get to my remarks, it was interesting. So when I walked in, there was a brother said, "Oh, Wakanda," and I'm like, "No." I've actually been to Africa. It's very interesting. Black Panther comes out, and you got folks for the first time, they've never in their life worn anything that's traditional African garb. And I had to remind some people. I was on a red carpet in L.A., and they said, "Oh, Wakanda." I said, "No, Ghana." I was there in 2008, and I had a number of outfits made there and visited, of course, several of the slavery dungeons. They call them slavery castles. I call them dungeons. Had an opportunity to really spend 10 days in that country, and then can't wait to go back. And the reason that's important is because it's amazing to me how many people in this nation never ever leave their neighborhoods. I didn't say leave their states, leave their cities. Folks literally don't leave their neighborhood. And when you begin to see how expansive this world is, when you begin to realize all that there is to offer in this world, I just think it's critically important that all of us make an effort to go beyond just where we are, just beyond where we live and who we know, and sort of expand our horizons. Reading has been one of those things for me growing up, being able to go places that I could not physically go, but I was able to mentally go as well. And so even to this day, I still read anywhere from 7 to 9 books at one time. And always, some of y'all are like, oh my God, yeah. Now, who in this room is having a problem reading one book right now? Y'all got to do better than that. I challenge. I have 9 nieces and 4 nephews, and I challenge them all the time. I'm not interested in what they're reading in school. I'm actually interested in what they're reading out of school, because there are 2 educations in life. There's one that we actually get in the classroom. There's one that we get outside of the classroom. And so, as a kid growing up, I typically would read anywhere from 300 or so books a summer. And when we went to the library, we couldn't check out the minimum number of books. We had to check out the maximum number of books and had to read all those in a week because we were at the library the following week to stock up on a whole new set of books. And so, and I appreciate my parents for doing that because it has allowed me to be able to do what I do right now. And so I certainly appreciate that. I want to start this way, and I'm going to ask a question. So let's see if anybody's been paying attention to the news. But I have some rules, though, and I have one basic rule, and that is I don't speak to any group that sleeps on me. So if there's somebody next to you and they're sleeping, I want you to hit them with your elbow and say, "Wake up. Wake up." Now the reason I'm saying that is because unless you know all that you need to know in life, you should be paying attention. Now, if the person who's slouching or reading, or slouching or sleeping, if you've interviewed 4 United States presidents, if you've been invited to the White House numerous times, if you've met some of the top people in this country, from Supreme Court justices to Oprah Winfrey to Tiger Woods to Michael Jordan to billionaires, then you can go ahead and go to sleep. If you have not, I would advise you to stay awake. So I'm going to ask this question to open this way, and that is, who knows the significance of the year 2043? It's 25 years from now. Who knows the significance of the year 2043? Who wants to guess? Yes. Who was napping? I saw you. Go ahead. I'm messing with you. Yes. Flying cars. All right. Who else? Yes. Say it again. Will most of us be old enough to become president? All right. Who else? Yes. You say you'll be done with school and have what? Have your lives. All right. Who else? Who else? I'll take 3 more stabs at it. Who else? Yes. A new generation has started. All right. Who else? 2 more. You can't answer. You ain't a student. You ain't been a student in a long time. You are here to listen. I got you. Yes. Americans will have better health care. Okay. Last one more. I'll take 1 more. Yes. Flying bikes. All right. All very interesting. All very interesting. All right. Shh. Here's the significance of the year 2043. And 2043 will be the first time in American history where this nation will be a majority people of color. It's in 25 years. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I need you to understand what that really means. I need you to understand that by 2043, it is projected that 47% of America will be white, 53% of America will be made up of folks who are black, who are brown, folks who are black, Latino, Asian, Native American. By 2039, the majority of the workforce in America will be people of color. Which means that when you are in your prime working age, you are the generation that will actually be leading America when that shift happens. How many folks in here are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, anybody here 19, 20, anybody here 12, 11, 10, 9? Any 8-year-olds? All right. Now, I know when you hear me say, settle down. I know when you hear me say, in 25 years, you are going to be 38 and 40 years old. Some of y'all are going, you have lost your mind. It's called basic math. You take your existing age, you add 25, and that's how old you will be in 2043. Now, somebody said that by that time we'll be old enough to run for president. You have to be at least 35 years old to run for president, 25 years old to run for Congress. So the answer is yes. And I need you to understand why that matters, because when I say, I need two of y'all to stop playing. Trust me, I pay attention to everything. I really need you to understand what this means, because what it means, if you are still living in this city, you are going to be the folks who will either be on the city council, on the school board, who will be CEOs running companies, who will be working with universities. You are the generation that will be doing that. Those folks who are 50 years old today, they will be 75 years old, likely retired. Now, the reason I need you to understand that is because everything you do today will determine whether or not you will be leading then or you'll be following somebody else. Let me repeat that. Everything you do today forward will determine what you will be doing by 2043. An extension of that will be determining what kind of life your children and your children's children will have. Now I ask you this. How many of you, looking at your current life, you want a completely different life for you 25 years from now, and your children? Raise your hand. So overwhelming number of you, you want a different life than the one you have now, correct? Now, if you want a different life than the one that you have right now, if you want to have a different economic situation, if you want to live in a different type of house, if you want to drive a different type of car, if you want to be able to travel and do other things, that means today, moving forward, you do not have time to play games. Now, I know some of you are saying, oh man, why did they invite him? Why is he saying this? It is because I know some of you are thinking, I can do that stuff later. I got time. But I can show you any number of people who were your age, who thought the exact same thing then, and right now they are regretting the decisions they made at your age. I can guarantee you there are people who are upset with themselves that they were participants in conferences like this, and they did not take advantage of that opportunity. In fact, some of them might be in your house right now. Some of them, I might be talking about your mama. I might be talking about your daddy. I might be talking about older brothers and sisters. I might be talking about cousins of yours. You may have overheard family conversations where somebody said, man, I wish I had done this. Man, I wish I had listened. I wish I had applied myself longer. I wish I had done these things. And I've always lived a life where I said, I don't want any regrets. I don't want to get older and go, man, I wish I had done that. Man, I wish I had done that. I wish I had taken that chance. I had somebody ask me, and they said, Roland, why you just love to dance? I said, yeah. I said, my legs work. Like, I don't understand, like, raise your hand. Who likes to dance in this room? Okay, I've never understood the person who goes to a party and they stand around. I don't. Let me tell you something. This weekend, they have the White House Correspondents Association dinner. So it's they call it #nerd prom. It really is boring. They think it's a great party. I've been to some great parties. I went to a party at Prince's house. That was a party. We were there till about 6 a.m. That was a party. The parties they have, those are not parties. So they have these parties, and all they do, they stand around on the dance floor drinking and talking. I'm like, can y'all get the hell off the dance floor? So those of us who want to dance, can y'all like just go by the tables and talk? Like, I mean, seriously, I've never understood that. I've never understood going to a party and talking to the person who you came with. Y'all could talk at home. Right now, I mean, I've been in Miami, and I've gone to top clubs in Miami, and I've been in New York and Chicago. Like, the thing now is to go to a club and to stand there and watch the DJ. I'm not watching the DJ. I want to dance to whatever the DJ is playing. I don't understand that. I like to dance. And so it made people go, but man, you dancing here? I mean, you on TV? I mean, are you worried what people going to think? I was like, no, because I don't care what people think. Because when I'm having a good time, I'm having a good time. Now, somebody said, well, why do you have that attitude? I said, because you know what? One day, life may change, and I may not be able to dance. I might have a bad hip, a bad knee, or whatever, and I might not be able to do what I do. And when I say I get it in, I get it in. Some of y'all would not be able to keep up with me. Don't. Okay, you too, Roland Martin dancing. You'll see. And I do that because one day if I am not able to dance, I will be able to say, look, I got it in as much as I could, and there's video proof, and I'm good. So imagine that. I know some of you might be saying, well, but I know stuff may not change. No, that's not true. A few years ago, there was a woman named Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Y'all heard her? She's a congresswoman from Arizona. And she was shot by one of her constituents outside of a supermarket. Now, the reason that was, and I will never forget this, is because the week before that happened, I was at a conference, and I met her and her husband, Space Shuttle Commander Mark Kelly. And I got a chance to meet him, and she had shared with my wife issues that she was having in terms of her security. And so it was around New Year's, and so clock struck midnight. It was New Year's, and so we were at this dance. It was this big think tank conference, and we were at this party. And she's over there. She's moving, and I go, Mark, man, dance with your wife. Mark said, Roland, I got 2 left feet. I said, Mark, I don't care. Just stand there and sway side to side. I said, look at your wife. Your wife want to dance so bad. Man, get out there and dance. And she was like, yeah. So I pushed him onto the dance floor, and man, she's out there, and she just forget the rhythm. She didn't matter. She was just doing her thing. I can, to this day, remember the smile that was on her face, and she was just having a great time 7 days later, I'm in my house in D.C. and I see breaking news. And they break into the report and they say there's been a shooting, a congresswoman, and they say the name. And I said, that sounds familiar. And then I said, man, so I went to my business cards and I pulled it out, and that was a business card where she had, in her handwriting, she had written her cell phone number and her email, personal email, and it said, Gabby Giffords. And I said, oh my God, that's who I literally just met a week ago. I would dare say she's still recovering from that shooting. Her speech is impacted. She gets around in a wheelchair. That likely was the last time Mark and Gabby danced together as a married couple. And I forced him to go out into the dance floor. What I'm trying to get you to understand is life will throw you a curveball that you never saw coming, and so you should take advantage of everything in life because you do not know what is going to happen. Now, the reason this is important because I don't know what it is you want to do with your life. I don't know what you want to major in. I don't know what you want to go to school for. I don't know what you want to study. But I need you to understand that literally everything that you do today, in every single one of your classes, in the relationships that you have, in the friendships that you have, could determine whether or not you have a life of success or a life of tough obstacles. See, some of y'all might have some people in your life right now who are friends who don't need to be in your life. So, some of y'all right now have some folks, and y'all have known each other since elementary school, but you are seeing what they are doing, and you're seeing the actions they are taking, and you are sitting here saying, you know what, I don't know, but this person is doing some things I don't like. I'm telling you right now, you have my permission to tell them bye. You may be a young woman dating some guy, and you see right now he ain't no good. You may be a young man, and you got a girlfriend, and you're going, you know what? She crazy. I'm telling you right now, you have permission to say, I'm trying to go somewhere with my life. You are not that person who's going to help me go where I'm going. So God moved them to their own divine good as far away from me as possible. And here's the deal. You might go to school and you might see them and they say, why are we no longer friends? But you say, it's something about you. I don't need you in my life. And I know some of y'all are saying, but we've been buddies for a while. No, there are some people who have been in my life who are no longer in my life, and I'm having a great life. Because there are people who you will come in contact who literally will drag you down and keep you away from the vision that you have for your life. When I think back to choices that I made, the people who I went to Magnet School of Communications, and there were students who I went to high school with who were not as serious as I was about what I wanted to do with my life. And those were people who were playing around, and they were saying, well, I figured it all out later, but I was serious. That I decided to do what I'm doing right now at the age of 14. And I've never altered in 35 years. And then do understand that when we go back to our class reunion, and let me explain to you how I'm serious about this here. We got Letterman jackets for School of Communications, and mine on the back said R. Martin, Mr. TV. Because that was a nickname they gave me, because whenever there's a program in the school, I shot the program. And so here we go back for our class reunion, and they talking about seeing me on TV. Oh, man, I saw you on ABC This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Or I saw you on MSNBC. Or I saw you on CNN. I saw you on TV One. I am living the life that I visualized for myself when I was 13 years old. Which meant that there were some people who were not down with the program, and I had to tell them bye because I knew where I was trying to go, and I was not going to allow them to stop me and hinder what I wanted to do. And the reason that's important in 2043 because when you look at America right now, America has made decisions about you that you did not even know were being made because they have made projections solely based on the fact that you are black and brown. Yep. Do understand that in America, they are determining what prisons will be built in 25 years based upon your reading rates today. When they look at the reading and the math rates of fourth graders in states, they are projecting who will be the people who will be filling jail cells when they are 20 and 25. There are people literally in this city who think most of you will be an absolute failure. There are people who literally right now are planning not just prisons, but they're also planning who will be the folks on welfare, who will be the folks receiving benefits in public housing based upon what is happening academically in schools right now. So don't think for a second that what you do today has no impact on tomorrow because folks are planning for a negative outcome for most of you. If you look at the history of America, you are not supposed to be a success. And I know some people go, well, but that's, why you sort of feel that way? Easy. 20-odd Africans arrived in America in August of 1619. America, 243 years of slavery, 12 years of Reconstruction, a Great Compromise of 1877, based upon a contested election in 1876, led to that Great Compromise, which ushered in Jim Crow, 92 years of slavery without shackles. If your king gets killed on April 4th, 1968, Fair Housing Act is passed 8 days after he is killed. If you use 1970 as the marker when African Americans were technically fully free Americans, we're only talking 48 years. Which means, to put this in context, which means that I was born November 14th, 1968, which means I was born into an America where I was not technically fully free. Which means that you are actually one of the first generations of black and brown people who actually were born technically fully free. When you look at the wealth gap in America right now, the average white family has $171,000 in wealth. The average black family has $7,000. Average Latino family has $10,000. Then you understand the dynamic. When you look at the wage gap in America, in terms of the numbers, it's very clear in terms of whites, blacks, and Latinos. When you look at housing stats in America, African Americans, in terms of home ownership, Latinos slightly higher, but it doesn't even come near where white Americans are. We are a nation of inequality. We are a nation that has been designed, whether we want to own it or not, this has been a nation that was designed for white folks to succeed and for black and brown to not succeed. That's actual American history. But actual American history can also change. There was a Dred Scott decision in the 1800s. There was Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896, but that changed in 1954 with Brown versus Board of Education. The Constitution was written where there were slavery compromises in it, but then, of course, you had where Dr. King and others came along in the Civil Rights Movement saying, we are here to redeem the soul of America. And so people of color have always had to fight for everything in this nation's history. So what I'm saying is the nation's history that we know about can be rewritten, can be changed if a new generation of people are willing to use their knowledge and their power and their skill set to think totally different in terms of how they want to live. See, when we were riding over, I was talking about, I said, you know, we live in a world where people in America go, oh no, I'm inclusive. I love diversity. We should address these issues. Yet this week in New York City, a video was shot of wealthy white parents in Manhattan angry that they were going to set aside 25% of seats in these top schools for black and brown kids who were not succeeding. And here were these so-called white liberals, white progressives, mad as hell, saying, no, we don't want them in our schools. Somebody shot the video, they sent it out, and the chancellor of the New York City school system, Latino brother, he tweeted it out. Before I walked in here, he used to be the superintendent in Houston, so before I walked in here, I called him to tell him, thank you for sending that out because you could have easily ignored that, but as a chancellor of the school system, it was important you did that. He said, we have to change what's happening in this country. He is a Latino man who understands it can't be business as usual in America. And I need all of you to understand that you are going to be in his position one day. You are going to be in a position where you can change America as you know it today. The question is, are you willing to put the work in today so when that time comes, you are prepared for the leadership role, or are you going to sleep through the next 25 years? I mean, I can't decide that. I really need you to decide that. How many of y'all saw Black Panther? How many of you remember the scene? How many of you remember the scene in Black Panther when the king's mother said, show him who you are? Well, I dare say to every single one of you, if you want to have a different life, if you want to change America, well then you've got to do what's necessary today and show them who you are. And that means that you have the ability that means when you walk into the classroom, you walk in with a swagger knowing full well that you want to be the best person sitting in that classroom. That means that you walk into a community center. That means that you walk into a church. You walk into spaces saying, I am going to be a future leader of this city, of this state, and this nation, and I am preparing myself for that day. You need to decide right now whether you want to have a basic, boring life where you are struggling and trying to find your way, or if you're going to accept the mantle of leadership and the call to action to say, I'm going to be different. You have to decide what kind of character you're going to have, if you're going to be somebody who wants to make excuses or you somebody who wants to change America to make it better. What I do every single day in media is I'm not trying to do what somebody else did. I'm not trying to say what other people say. I'm purposely trying to be different. When I walk on that television set, trust me, I'm ready to do battle with people because I understand that ideas and also what we say can change what people think and how they feel. You right now, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 can actually change what happens. And I'm going to close with this. This week I was in Birmingham and Montgomery, Alabama. And in Montgomery, Alabama, they opened a lynching memorial. But before we went to Montgomery, we stopped in Birmingham, and I'd already been there, but my photographer had never been to Alabama. So we stopped by 16th Street Baptist Church, where 4 little girls were killed at that church. But many people don't understand there were 2 black boys who were also killed that day. One by a cop for throwing rocks at a car, and another by a white teen who was mad and shot and killed him as he rode a bicycle with his brother. And then we went across from 16th Street, literally right across the street where they have Kelly Ingram Park. Now, how many of you have seen the old film of the kids in Birmingham who were being attacked by dogs and by the fire hoses? That took place in Kelly Ingram Park. And if you walk there, they have the memorial there. But what you don't understand is that those young folks didn't just walk out of school haphazardly that day. They had been training and teaching for days by James Bevel and others. And when Dr. King said it's time to unleash the children, then they sent them out and they sent the kids in 3 different directions, and the cops had no idea what was going on because they could not control these kids. They called them child crusaders. And it was the scene of the fire hoses hitting those young people and the dogs attacking them that caused America to say we have to change what is happening to African Americans. You saw what happened in Parkland when those young people stood up and organized that rally in Washington, D.C. I was called to do one in Birmingham. Young African Americans would have their own. I'm trying to get you to understand that America has changed because young people said we want a different America than the one that we have right now. You can do the exact same thing the children of Birmingham did. You can do the exact same thing dreamers have been doing. You can do the exact same thing young folks have always been doing, but you have to decide right now whether you have the courage and the character to do it, or are you going to sleep through these critical years. Only you can decide whether or not you want to show them who you are. And also later in that movie, what did he say? Stand up. You're a king. I need you to stand up and stay woke and walk as kings and queens. Yeah. All right, so it's time for Q&A. So is there a mic? Is there a mic? What do you have? Is there a mic? Okay, hold up. Shh. Settle down. So there's no mic? Okay, all right. So there's no mic. So you got to project. So I need y'all to keep the volume down. So who's the first person with a question? First person with a question. Oh, now y'all scared. Y'all were talking before. Now you're scared. I won't bite. Who has a question? Yes, stand up. Say your name, what grade you're in, and then your question. No, babe, I need you to project. Oh no, I love my job. I like getting paid. Yes. I can tell you right now, there's a difference between having a job and not having a job. No, I love what I do because this is what I want to do. I've had people come to me and they've asked me to run. I mean, I've had people come to me and ask me to run for political office since I was 25. And I've said no every time. I know that this is what God's will is for my life. And so I haven't been interested in anything else. I've had other things that have been presented to me. I've had no interest in doing those things, but it is fun. It is different. I do get a chance to travel this country, travel this world, interviewing people, talking to people, meeting people of different backgrounds, and being able to learn so much. But also I understand the power of media. I understand that what happens on television and radio and newspapers and magazines and the internet informs how we think about people, how we view people. And then those things matter. And so that's why I do what I do. And also you have to have people who are in those positions, who utilize their authority in those positions to say the things that other folks are afraid to say. And so absolutely. Enjoy it every single day. Next question. Yes, stand up. Yep. On a scale of 1 to 10, how has African American independence changed? Well, first of all, has changed in a significant way because, again, and unfortunately, probably for a lot of you, what you're being taught is a joke when it comes to history, which requires you to go outside of the classroom to actually have a much broader understanding of history. I said during my speech that you had 20-odd Africans arrived in America in August of 1619. You had 243 years of legalized slavery in America. You went through a period of Reconstruction, which really were the golden years for African Americans. You had the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment that was passed. Those were the Reconstruction amendments. That only lasted 12 years. And really, 5 or 6 years in that, white Americans began to say, okay, fine, we've done enough for the slaves. Hey, it's time to move on. And so think about it, 243 years of slavery, and then folks sort of got tired after 5 or 6 years. And then, of course, you had Jim Crow implemented beginning in 1877. That was 92 years of slavery without shackles. I don't think people really understand the depths of, hold it down, please. Settle down. I don't think people really understand the depths of what the black experience has been like in this country. In fact, I took some pictures of this when I was at the lynching memorial. I want you to hear this. A black construction worker was lynched at Camp Blanding, Florida in 1941 for insisting that a white co-worker return his shovel. Another, they have these panels there where they have more than 4,400 African Americans were lynched, and they say that they haven't even, those are known people. There were so many people who were lynched who they don't know about. Another one said Jesse Thornton was lynched in Luverne, Alabama in 1940 for addressing a white police officer without the title of Mr. When you begin, and then when you go, if you go there, they have these panels and they list the names of the people who were lynched in each county. Georgia had the most lynchings in American history. There were some of these panels, there were so many people lynched, they had to decrease the size of the font to get all the names on. To understand what we're talking about, if you were black, I need you to wake that person up. If you were black, you literally could not look somebody white in the eye. If you were walking on the street and somebody white passed by, you had to step off of the sidewalk into the mud or the water to allow them to pass. I also was in Memphis for the commemoration of Dr. King's assassination. And how many of you have seen the signs, I am a man? Raise your hand if you've seen those signs. I want you to write, first of all, those of you who have not seen those signs, I want you to write that down. And I want you to Google that. I want you to read about that. 1,300, the reason Dr. King was in Memphis when he got assassinated, because he was there when 1,300 black men went on strike after 2 black sanitation workers, garbage workers, were killed on February 1st, 1968. That phrase came from one of the garbage workers. They went to a meeting with the mayor of Memphis, and he looked them in the eye and said, "Boy, why are you here?" And he said, "Mr. Mayor, I am a man, and I want to be treated like a man." And so when things happen even now, folks say, well, I don't understand why African Americans are upset, why they're bad. It is because for more than 350 years, black people could not even talk back to somebody who was white. And so you have a different level of independence. But even today, and I need people to understand this, even today, if you are black and brown, you have to adjust what you say and how you say it to make somebody else comfortable because you don't want to be perceived as being a threat. So the fact that we still are dealing with that. Look, I'm on television. Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity can yell and scream and act a fool on television and keep making $30, $40, $50 million. If I did what they did as a black man, I would never get invited back. That shows you that even though we are in 2018, you still don't have the same in terms of how we're treated. And so you see independence there, but you don't. Dr. King talked about this here. He wanted black folks in this, and let me write this down. Every single one of you, I don't care how old you are, you should go to the library or tell your parents, I want a copy of this book. This book is called Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. This was the last book Dr. King wrote. It was his worst-selling book. But everything that we have endured as a nation in the last 50 years since he was killed, he literally predicted in this book. And how we go forward, he lays out how to make that happen in this book. It's called Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community. And so, although we say, wow, African Americans are independent, as he said, he wanted black folks to have the same thing, the same birthright that white Americans had, and that is to be a full American. And we are not there yet. Next question. Yes?
My name is John Lewis Martel.
Say it again.
My name is John Lewis Martel. I'm in sixth
Okay, I want you to say it again. I want you to say it slower. I want you to project.
My name is John Lewis Martel, and I am in the 6th grade. My question is, when was this building first built?
Huh?
When was this building?
When was this building first built? I don't know. Who knows it? Say it again. 1962. That's what he said. Y'all over there saying no. Built in 95. But here's the thing that's important to understand. I need all of you to understand this. It's critically important. 50 plus years ago, or even longer, we could not have even sat in this room. I really need all of you, no matter what your age is, to understand what I'm saying. We could not have even walked through that door if we were not white. We have seen progress in America, but we have not seen a level of progress where black and brown people are completely free in America. I don't fight for equality. I fight for freedom. Freedom and equality are two totally different things. And I need you to, as you are studying and as you're reading Dr. King's speeches, as you are reading the writings of Constance Baker Motley and Ella Baker and Hosea Williams and Reverend Jackson, Andrew Young, I want you to understand there's a difference between equality and freedom. And your job is to fight for freedom in schools, in communities, in neighborhoods, in every facet of life. There's no part of this society where any of us should not be completely free. Thanks so much.
Mr. Roland S. Martin, another round of applause.
Hold on. Who is Brianna? Who is Brianna? Who is Brianna? Who's Brianna?
I don't know, but did you get a notification saying that she wants your Facebook?
Lord, Brianna been sending me airdrops.
I got to say.
Who is Brianna? I ain't calling. I just want to know. She done sent about 5 airdrops.
You sent the airdrop to what you did.
I'm just saying. I just want to say, Brianna. Okay, thanks for all them airdrops, but Lord, you type it. Go ahead.
And as you all are leaving, right, we thank you for attending, but just remember, when you, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, you go wait for 1 second. When you are awakened to their sense of mission, their power and your power is limitless. So again, thank you. Remember to stop at the desk to pick up your certificates as well. You all safe travels and have fun.
That was funny.
Thank you again, sir. I appreciate it. That was amazing.